Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Money and Change. My name is Ira Robinson. As always, we're here with Stu Shear. Hello, Stu.
Hi, Ira. How you doing today?
So far, so good. I can't complain. If I did, it wouldn't do me any good anyways.
Well, yeah, and then we'll be in for some more storms, at least around here.
Oh, yeah, we got hit hard yesterday, that's for sure.
That's true, and we got clobbered last night here in Ohio. I think we're about an hour and a half time difference as far as storms coming out of the west going to the east. And we had a lot of lightning and thunder to the north of us. Some heavy rain hit here and then went south. So we had some kind of nasty storms in both states. And, my heart goes out to the guys in Kokomo because they really got clobbered.
They got hit hard.
Oh, yeah. I saw some of the videos from that. Well, today, before we get going here on the show, we've got some pretty interesting stuff here. But we always do a disclaimer, and the information contained in this presented material is from the posting of news agencies on the internet and are not necessarily the views or opinions of the owners of this program. We are not responsible for and expressly disclaim all liability for damages of any kind arising out of use, reference to, or reliance on any information contained in this broadcast. The information provided is not offered as financial advice, financial planning, or for investment purposes, so you want to use this information at your own risk. And before we start out, I've got 3 shout-outs to give. I still have one for the University of Findlay. That's www.findlay.edu. And if you go to the moneyandchange.weebly.com website, under the home section, there's a sub-page called Education. It's got a lot of videos there about the University of Findlay, so if you live far away, you can take a little trip to the University of Findlay on the videos and see what it's really about. And it's what I like to say, good education, good prices, and good professors. And it's a pretty good deal there. Going on, the Big Family Homestead on YouTube. If you get a chance, you want to watch Brian and the family there. They have some pretty good information. Also, I got to give Dabu77 on YouTube a big pat on the back. He came up with some very good stories, and if you get a chance, go to the moneyandchange.weebly.com website and take a look at the Be Prepared videos and links at the very top. There are 3 fresh videos there done by Dabu. A lot of the information is out on the web, but I posted those today, and I think it's important that everybody check that out. From the currency chart at xe.com as of 4 o'clock at today, which is Thursday, 8/25/16, the euro dropped a penny. Last week it was $1.13 to the US dollar. Now it's $1.12. The Great British Pound gained a penny. It's now up to $1.31. The Australian dollar stayed the same at 76 cents. The Canadian dollar stayed the same at 77 cents. The Swiss franc went down a penny. It's now at $1.03. The Japanese yen, well, it's a sleeper. It's still at 0.9 cents. The Chinese yuan stayed the same. It's been the same now for a total of 5 weeks at 15 cents to the US dollar. The Kuwaiti dinar dropped a penny. It's now at $3.31. And the Vietnamese dong, well, the barrel just got a little bit heavier. So if you have a wheelbarrow of dong, last week it was 22,270 dong to the dollar, and now it's 22,286.29 dong to the dollar. So the wheelbarrow got just a little bit heavier. Bitcoin. Hey, last week Bitcoin was $578.01, and today it is $574.51. So it went down in price a little bit. Gold. Wow, we took a drop. Last week it was $1,341.43. It's now down to $1,322.60. Silver. Wow, silver went down. Several weeks ago it was $19.74, and then it started going down to $19.72, then $19.30 last week. It's down to $18.56. Platinum. Well, platinum took a drop from $1,113 an ounce down to $1,075.97 an ounce. Palladium, it also went down. It was at $712.02 an ounce. It's down to $688.38 an ounce. Just remember that these currencies constantly change, and just about every 20 seconds or more, or less even. They can go very quickly. Right now, APMEX, American Precious Metal Exchange, is showing gold at $1,325, which is now down $4.10. Silver is at $18.60. It's down 6 cents. Platinum is down $4.60. It's at $1,075.10. And palladium is at $689.50. It went up $5.50 since we last took the numbers. So if you're going to invest, please do this. Just don't jump in and buy gold. Don't jump in and buy silver, platinum, or palladium. Please. I've been saying this for the last 3.5 years. Buy down your debt, put some money aside, buy some long-term food. Make sure you have a way to purify and store water, and also if you need medications, make sure you have medications on hand to cover your needs, and then some.
That debt thing is very, very important.
Oh yeah, especially if you're a diabetic. I mean, you have to have your meds.
Yep.
No matter what happens. But if you're going to go ahead and buy, I'm not pushing APMEX at all. There are a lot of other sources out there for you to buy gold and silver. But please invest in what you need right now at home to cover the food needs, the medical needs, water, and so forth, and pay
Yes.
down your bills. Once that's done, if you have a little extra change, then go ahead and buy some gold, buy some silver. You don't have to buy an ounce. You can buy 1/10 of an ounce. You could buy a 1/4 ounce or a 1/2 ounce. And they have all different types of coins. And if you don't want to do that, you can buy bars and small bars, and they get bigger. And the price goes up too. Just remember that if you're trading and bartering for things down the pike in a situation where the SHTF hits the fan, you would better be served by having coin and not ingots or bars. They don't trade very well.
Exactly.
Well, oh yeah.
Little scraps of it,
Oh yeah. And the smaller the scraps, the better. Now, for the news information that we have this week, we have a lot of different varied sources of information. One from Valentin Schmid from the Epoch Times, EPOCH. Gold wins in 3 out of 4 scenarios, and Macquarie warns none of them are good for the economy. And he said that Warren Buffett claims that gold is worthless because it doesn't produce anything. Fair point. But what if the other sectors of the economy also stop producing? If you think of gold, the only way gold loses its normal business and private sector cycles come back. That's if it loses, if those cycles come back. If that is the case, gold goes back $100 per ounce. The other outcomes, deflation, stagflation, hyperinflations, are good for gold, said Victor Shvets, Shvets. And he's a global strategist for an investment bank called the Macquarie Group. That's Macquarie. So gold wins in 3 out of 4 scenarios, but none of the 3 are particularly appealing, according to him. He believes aggressive action by the world's central banks after the financial crisis has covered up a lack of private sector productivity. Also, the movements of central banks and governments have displaced or replaced private sector investment signals such as earnings and employment data. So everything comes down to confidence in central banks. If people become more confident, he says, gold will ease back. But when the chickens come home to roost, gold will come back, he said. Gold futures have rallied 26% this year after the Federal Reserve shook confidence in its ability to manage the economy by raising interest rates last December. Junior gold mining stocks, the companies most sensitive to gold price increases, rallied 155% this year. So when the calamities are out there and the world has a lot of problems, where do people go? They go to gold, silver, platinum, any other precious metal. Some of them just start on a buying spree if they have a lot of money. Look what happened to George Soros. He started dumping some of his stocks and bonds and started buying gold again. So he knows something is up, or maybe he's getting ready to stir some things up.
I would say it's more along those lines.
Well, and the same thing with Rothschild. He's doing the same thing with his portfolio.
Yep.
So something is up when they're doing something like that. So basically the 6 months that were under review for this article, they've seen central bankers continuing what they call the greatest experiment in monetary policy in the history of the world. I think Rothschild said that. And he said, we're therefore in uncharted waters, and it's impossible to predict the unintended consequences of very low interest rates, some 30% of global government debt at negative yields combined with quantitative easing on a massive scale. So according to Schvetz in his report, this may just be the beginning as investors and citizens reject these policies and are looking for alternatives like gold, physical cash, Bitcoin, and real estate. And we've talked about physical, something you can hold in your hand. Do not have any gold certificates.
You got it.
Because when you go to get it at the vault, from where it's stored, or the paper, when you go to redeem it, the first couple may get it, everybody else may not. And then you stand and you wait in line. What about my gold? Well, guess what, guys? We don't have it, but we'll get it for you one of these years.
Something very similar happened during the 1920s.
Well, also, they were buying on credit, weren't they?
They were indeed.
Mm-hmm. Anybody could buy on credit. It was a big, big mistake. And, of course, the banks got caught up in it. And the little guy got squashed. And you talk about bread lines, soup kitchens. You take a look at that around where I live. The Salvation Army during the summertime was delivering meals to kids. And they would have the truck pull around at certain times of the day, and right around the noon hour, maybe from 11 o'clock to maybe 1 o'clock, and they would pull up and people would serve meals to the kids. And that's an indicator that, hey, the economy's not that good.
Yeah.
You go out and you take a look at people going to the free store or to some of the churches for their goods and so forth. And not only do they hit one church up, but they go to another location and another location and another location. A lot of those people aren't from this area, and they're taking advantage of it. I mean, I've seen people on their cell phones pushing carts down the street, going from one to the other, talking to somebody.
Yeah.
And you'd listen to them. Well, I've got 12 loaves of bread, and so forth, and I don't know if they can use all that. But some people are really taking advantage of it. So, the markets out there aren't that good. They're propped up. A lot of the stuff that we're getting is basically what the man wants you to hear and not what really is out there. And that's why when I start looking at about 22 different sources of information every day to prepare for the program, some of the stuff that's out there is scary. And speaking of scary, in Zero Hedge, an article came out and said central banks now own $25 trillion of financial
Yeah,
assets.
that is crazy.
25 trillion bucks. I mean, that's insane. And they said with 85% of Wall Street telling Citi, which is Citibank, they expect a dovish hike signal from Yellen at the Fed, which means a polite request for another opportunity, even as Bank of America says expectations for a dovish Fed are coinciding with the macro strength of the U.S. Yeah, right. Um, you know, the report went on to talk about a Keynesian put. And it said risk assets are now supported by the new Keynesian put and the expectation that federal measures will be deployed to combat any renewed weakness in the economy / markets, independently of any larger political projects. But asset prices remain primarily supported by excess monetary abundance across the world. Two letters of the alphabet just popped up in my thought cloud above my head.
Monetary abundance, huh?
Do you get the letters BS?
I think I do. I think this episode is supported by the letters B and
B
S.
and S from your local bank, not from the two of us.
and the,
We're
and
just
the
reporting the news.
and the numbers 2 and 5.
Yeah, 2 and 5. That's right. Well, um, the central banks since the Lehman collapse have had 667 interest rate cuts. The G7 central bank governors have been in their current post for 17 years, yet only one, which is Yellen, has actually hiked interest rates during that time. And central banks own 25 trillion of financial assets, a sum larger than the gross domestic product or the GDP of US and Japan. And it's up $12 trillion since Lehman. I think they're $7 million short someplace because I think Obama's put us in the hole by 19 trillion.
Well, funnily enough, the Pentagon just came out and said that they're missing $6.3 trillion.
6.3?
Yep.
Oh, pocket change. Come on.
It's only a little
That,
bit of cash.
hey, I could go to Florida and live on that for quite a while, man. Oh, I could buy that property down there in Siesta Key for that $3 million. Well, on the other hand, I could take it and move it to some other South American country and live like a king
Oh, yeah.
for the rest of my life on $7 million, even on $3 million. But that isn't going to happen. Us Poe folks, we just do these radio shows, and we don't get paid for any of that, and I don't expect to. I like to give out my information, and like I've always said in the shows, I provide the information to hopefully help people. I don't want any money for the information that I give out. That's just me giving back to society.
Yep.
Yep. Well, anyhow, this Victor Shvets, who's the strategist at the Macquarie Group, remember that name, Bitcoin and gold can both be prohibited by the government. Gee, you remember what happened with FDR? He made everybody turn in their gold, and if they didn't, they got a $10,000 fine, and they got thrown in jail.
Yep.
Ooh. I don't know about that, but Bitcoin and gold can be prohibited by the government. And how do you force people to do things they're reluctant to do? The way to do it is to close down alternatives like real estate, cash, and gold. And you force people underground hoarding cash with warehouse receipts or warehousing gold illegally. Underground stuff. Well, Chevets believes there has to be a reset of the financial system to get rid of a couple $100 trillion of debt. It's gone way up there. They don't know how to handle it. You have hedge funds and derivatives that cause this whole mess. And the only way that they know to do is to implode the system. You have two ways of doing it. You do a crash, close some of the banks, tighten up the money, or you have a war. Two simple ways. It all could have been avoided had the banks not gotten involved with hedge funds and derivatives. Well, right now we're still in the US dollar standard since the Bretton Woods system ended in 1971. How will the monetary system rebase itself? I think it's going to go to gold, and I think Schvetz is thinking it's going to go to gold. Slow move, but they'll get there. And if they go to an electronic set of funds, everybody gets a little plastic card. Well, guess what? That's your money. And just remember, numbers can be changed on the computer.
The dong is plastic too.
Yeah, it's woven plastic. It's woven plastic. And I don't know about holding dong. I've got some. I look at it and go, well, it hasn't done anything so far. And it looks back at me saying, you dumb idiot, why did you buy it?
Yeah.
Because somebody said, hey, one of these days, the Vietnamese dong is going to be worth 15 cents. And I thought, okay, I'll take that information. I just might get a few. Not many, but get a few just as kind of a joke. The joke's on me because I bought a few of them. You could spend them over in Vietnam, but you couldn't very well do anything with them here.
I don't see you going to the jungle anytime soon.
Yeah, well, you could also use them for toilet paper, and they're reusable because they're plastic. But we won't go there. No, evil thoughts, evil thoughts. There was another thing out of Superstation 95 about the Deutsche Bank CEO warns of fatal consequences for savers. Haven't we been talking about Deutsche Bank?
A little concerningly, yes.
Yeah, just a little bit. Well, it's like the guy's name is John Cryan. And he's saying a wounded Deutsche Bank lashed out at central bankers. Stop easing, you're crushing us. Well, yeah, they are. But I'll tell you what, Deutsche Bank got themselves in the problem. And the biggest warning from John Cryan was not aimed at this Mario Draghi, who's, I guess, head of the European Central Bank. But, it was at Germany itself, and it said ostensibly it was his own clients from the Deutsche Bank. And he's implicitly suggesting that if the Deutsche Bank goes down, it is taking everybody down with it. When, as cited by Bloomberg, Cyan said he warned of fatal consequences for savers and pension plans while companies refrain from investments due to ongoing uncertainty and demand less loans. Well, they want you to take out loans. That way they make more money. But I'll tell you what, it kind of hints of a bail-in to me. Oh, if we go down, everybody's going with us. So you better start supporting your bank. I thought about doing that in some type of a German accent. But
support your bank.
Huh?
Support your bank.
You will support your bank.
Or you will pay.
Do you have papers? I have toilet papers. It's on a roll. Anyhow.
That was more like Jerry Lewis there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, hey, the accent's just not there today. I mean, it's only 92 degrees outside. Sometimes I think it feels like 104 in here where I'm doing the broadcast.
Your accent melted.
Oh, it melted, man. It melted. Um, it's so hot in here, and it's coming off the computer and the monitor too. Everything else is LED. It's like, wow, jeez. Anybody got any suntan oil? I'll give you my address. You can send it to me. That and some fans. I would appreciate that. Air conditioner would be nice too. Actually, mine is working. But you take a look at Cryan is saying, hey, something's going to happen. German people are investors and savers. They're very tight with their money.
Sort of always been that way, really.
Oh yeah, yeah, they're really tight.
Yeah, it's kind of a cultural norm.
I took a German class in Cincinnati for 2 years, and the lady that was teaching the class, she was super fantastic, and her husband ran an investment business in German bonds. Needless to say, there's a big majority of people in Cincinnati with German backgrounds. And so this guy was making a killing at the time in the bond market. So she agreed to teach the class. So we learned a lot of things. And one thing that I learned in class, which is not speakable in German, is that I accidentally took my first finger and pointed to my head, trying to come up with an answer for something. And I kept touching my head. And Hanala looked at me and she goes, "Was you doing that?" I said, "I'm trying to think of the answer." I kept tapping my head, even more. And she goes, "You're flipping me off. You're giving me the birdie." And I said, "What?" And she says, "You're giving me the birdie. In Germany, when you point to your head with your first finger, you're flipping somebody off."
Yep.
Oh, did I catch hell in that class? Um, I even lost the key to the beer cooler. Had to turn that in. That wasn't fair. I cried that night.
You did triple wrong in that class.
Oh, never point to your head when you're trying to, never scratch your head or with your first finger. That's first finger in Germany is middle finger, especially when you point to the head. So
Yep.
remember that when you go over there. You think the Muslims are going to be tough on you? You flip off a German bus driver. She did that one time. The bus driver stopped the bus that was loaded with people, came over to her car, was yelling at her through the window. And he said, "You flipped me off. You gave me the birdie." And she says, "No, I didn't." "Yes, you did. I'm going to call the Polizei." Trying to call the cops. And he stopped the bus right in the intersection in Munich. I mean, you don't do that. Well, this guy got ticked off, and I don't know whether she flipped him off, touched her head. I don't know what happened, but that was the big thing. So we had the lecture of the evening was be polite and don't flip off the teacher. She was a sweetheart. I really loved that class. Didn't learn too much German, but I loved that class. And the beer wasn't bad either. Anyhow, with zero hedge, German government urges citizens to stockpile food, water in case of attack or catastrophe. Wow. I saw that, and Dabu77 put it up on his website. I was out of words when I saw that. I thought, man, I have to put that up on my website in the Be Prepared videos and links. And if you go to that page at, guess what? It's moneyandchange.weebly.com, and you go to the Be Prepared videos and links. I have 3 videos up there, all of them about different countries and different things going on that are saying, hey, something's going to happen soon. You need to go to that web page and take a look at those videos. But anyhow, they were saying the German government is telling the citizens, okay, start building up, your food and water. And we mentioned that last week, and I think originally it came out for 5 days, then it went to 10 days. Well, the latest thing is that Dabu came up with the Czechs are also doing that. So what does that tell you? something's going to happen. They're worried about that, so they're telling their people, hey, something's going to happen. Then you take a look at an executive order that was signed by Obama that said in the case of a natural catastrophe, or national catastrophe, that if some of the heads didn't show up to work, everybody moves up a step and you take over that person's spot. Well, that video's on there too. It's kind of scary. It really is. And if you haven't done any preparing, I would do it now. It doesn't take that much to store up some food, some long-term food, some food that you normally eat around the house, some water. Go out and get about 6 or 7 cases of bottled water. I don't have to worry about that. I've got a Berkey filtration system. So I take the city water and put it in the Berkey, and I don't have any fluoride in my water anymore, or any other junk that happens to be in the city water.
Speaking of which, I have something that I want to complain about real fast.
Okay.
There's a water filter that we've been getting. It's a pitcher type of water filter, and the filters on it can be a little expensive. We were paying about $40 for the filter, but it would last probably about a month or so before
Holy
it would
cow.
go out. Well, you'd have to clean it here and there, but we could get about maybe 3 to 4 cleanings out of it before we had to replace it. Well, so last night we went to Amazon to look at replacing the filter, getting a new replacement filter. And again, bear in mind it was $40 before. Now they raised the price up to $150 for one filter. $150 for one filter. And
what are you drinking? Scheisswasser?
I'm telling you, and the thing that kills me is that you can still buy the whole pitcher and filter, so like the whole new unit for like $60. It's like, well, what's the point of selling an individual filter for $150 when you can buy the whole unit for $60?
And how many gallons do you get out of it?
Let's see. I think it's about 200 gallons, right around in there.
I'll tell you what.
It's a pretty good amount.
Oh, I'll tell you something better. With the Berkey system that I've got, I had 2 carbon filters and 2 of the fluoride arsenic filters. I can process 3,000 gallons of water before I need to change anything. And I can also clean the carbon filters very easily.
Yeah, I love Berkey. Berkey is a great filter. It really is. It's just we haven't been able to afford to get one yet.
Well, I'll tell you what. Now, you could make your own Berkey. And I have that on the moneyandchange.weebly.com website back in the DIY. That's
useful.
Do it yourself.
Aha.
And you can take, just go out to Lowe's or go to Home Depot, or you can go to a bakery, like maybe Kroger's or Costco or whatever, and get one of their food grade buckets. And you take a 3/8-inch drill, you drill 2 holes in the bottom of the bucket, and you install the carbon filters. Well, the carbon filters are $100 a pair. But look how many gallons you get out of it. You fasten them into the top bucket. The bottom bucket, then, you put a spigot in it, and you set the lid for the bottom bucket onto the top bucket where the filters are. And you actually screw things together there. And there's a video there, you can see it. And then you just put the water in the top. It goes through the filter into the bottom, and then you can go ahead and flip the toggle switch on the spigot, and boom, you've got filtered water. And instead of paying about $400 for a big Berkey unit, you've only done it for $100 plus the buckets.
Right, exactly.
But you get 3,000 gallons of water. So it's very cost effective.
Not bad.
No, it isn't. And the water tastes pretty good. That's all I basically drink. I went to the county fair, and all the animals were there. Instead of water, I had pop, and the pop was so sweet. I just I don't like pop anymore. I just like water.
Yeah, I haven't really cared for pop since I quit drinking Mountain Dew some years ago, and now I do
Oh,
tea.
Mountain Dew. Wow, that's heavy duty stuff.
Oh yeah.
I remember when I was at University of Cincinnati with as a business specialist, and I went out to this one location. I said, "How come you guys drink so much of Mountain Dew? It's either Diet Dew or regular Dew." And the facility that I had to oversee was going through tons of it. I mean, case upon case upon case. And we were getting 3 deliveries of pop a week. And he said, well, it's easy. It keeps us awake during class. Think about it. All that caffeine, all that sugar.
Oh yeah. I used to go
And it
through
was,
about a case a day myself.
oh, yeah, but then after you look at the chemicals that are involved in the stuff,
Oh, it destroyed my body, that's for sure. I have
you
no
know,
doubt.
coal tar extract and everything else. People listen to your show from last night. I mean, that was a really
Oh,
good
the
show and open
addictions
eyes.
show. Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one. And it's still up on YouTube too.
Sure is.
And also, we're on YouTube also.
We are
So,
youtube.com/C/Open Eyes Network. You guys can catch all of the archives of the shows over there.
was that a plug?
Just a little one.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, hey, um, there was an article that was out, Jeffrey Tucker and the Foundation for Economic Education on Obamacare's The Welfare State's Requiem. And he said in the Hymn for the Dead for the Catholic Mass, the text of Dies Irae, if I pronounced the Latin right, starts the day of wrath, the day that will dissolve the world in ashes. For Obamacare, this is that day, and it could portend a future in which the mighty ambitions of the welfare state shrivel and die. And it was a culmination of a whole decade, or really several. And you have national health care industry, they're trying to do this, they're trying to design it. Well, they did it up in Massachusetts. Hillary was saying that, oh, she was going to do some stuff, and then Obama got into it. Didn't they ever learn that national health care really doesn't work? I mean, you got the Obamacare in 2017, I believe. The prices are going to go sky high.
They are, and there's also a lot of insurance companies that are looking to get out of it now as well, up to and including some pretty big ones. I mean, there's Aetna is looking to pull out because they lost $300 million in profit last year. So,
Well, the same thing with United Healthcare. They're
yeah,
pulling
United
out.
Healthcare, yeah, that's the other big one too.
And the cost of drugs are going sky high.
Yeah, look at the EpiPen. They're big problems with the EpiPen raising on price now. Even getting some Congress
300%?
members going on. Yeah, 300%. One of the Congress people, his daughter apparently has allergies and needs the EpiPen. And then on the other side of things, you've got the other congressman whose daughter is the CEO of the company that makes the EpiPens. So it's going to be an interesting little fight there, I think.
Well, I remember when I was down at Death Valley. That's our local hospital. uh, More people go out the back door than the front. Anyhow, I was in the ER and I had something. I had a food allergy, and I just had all kinds of hives from it. And they gave me 3 medications, and 2 out of 3 I was allergic to.
Oh,
Didn't know
geez.
it. Oh, I was just, oh, I looked like a raspberry. Bumps all over head to toe, and it was getting worse. And I just said, I just looked at the doctor and I said, hey, just give me a shot of Benadryl. I had to plead, and I said, Benadryl, you know what that is? And she said, well, these are supposed to work. Not supposed to. Give me Benadryl. So they gave me a shot through the IV of Benadryl. Things started to clear up. By 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'd been there since 8 o'clock, I said, give me another shot of Benadryl. And the doctor goes, well, and I said, give me another shot of Benadryl so I can get the hell out of here. Well, she gave me another shot of Benadryl. Everything started to clear up. If they would have done that in the first place, instead of running up the bill on some exotic drugs that I was allergic to, that's why we call it Death Valley. Anyhow, meanwhile, back at the ranch, you got Obamacare, and it's not getting any better. It's getting worse. I mean, some people in Canada say, well, it's not really bad unless you need, a, an operation. And if it's a big operation, sometimes they get you in, sometimes they don't. A friend of mine had to come to the U.S. to have a heart operation because they didn't have an opening for him. So he had to leave Toronto, which has some very good hospitals, and he had to go to Detroit. Go figure. And you take a look at everything. You got Obamacare. That's kind of a socialized medicine. Well, the Mises, MISES Institute, they had an article by Alan Mendenhall this week about socialism, and it said the world's greatest generator of poverty. It's true. Anything with an ism scares me. There used to be a video. Actually, it was a movie way back when, and this guy, the shady character, comes out of an alleyway, and he goes up to something and says, "Hey, buddy, I got something to sell you." And the guy's like, "Watches? No, isms." Isms? Yeah, socialism and communism. So, it's socialist countries don't do that well.
Not traditionally.
No, I think probably Sweden is about the only one.
And even they are having some issues too. So,
well, yeah. So, isms, beware of them. If somebody comes up, I'm from the government and I'm here to help, run. I mean, look at the government. Are they down in Louisiana doing anything right now?
Well, Obama, he came back from vacation. He had a 16-day vacation, and he had, he took some walks. He played another 10 rounds of golf. They went out for dinner. That was more important than Louisiana, and that was more important than the rioting going on in Milwaukee.
Well, hey, somebody sent me a picture of Obama playing golf, and he was hitting off on the top of a car in floodwaters being pushed by a guy. The guy's pushing the car, and there's Obama on top playing golf. I'm like, I don't know how they got that shot, but that was interesting to see. It was,
that's about what it's golf. Like. 310 rounds of golf so far since he was president, and that's a bit of time.
I don't think Eisenhower ever did that, and Eisenhower liked to play golf.
Well, the other golfer that we had, the big avid golfer that we had was actually George Bush Jr. W. He played 24 rounds of golf while he was president, compared to 310 now that Obama's been president.
Well,
he's also had time to do 484 fundraisers too, by the way.
Well, and then there was also what was it? Gerald Ford. He liked to play golf too, but he would tee off and then he would go 4.
Yep.
And everybody would duck.
Yep.
Yes. So he wasn't a very good golfer.
Is that like going hunting with Dick Cheney?
Oh yeah, he gets shot in the back of the head. Oh, the gun just accidentally went off.
Whoops.
Luckily, it was just buckshot. Or bird shot. Peppered the guy's face. Well, anyhow, they were talking about minimum wage, and they kept saying, well, we need to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour. Well, according to Zero Hedge, there was a report out there. There was something that was unexpected happened when Seattle raised the minimum wage. And said seemingly no amount of empirical evidence can convince progressives that raising minimum wages to artificially elevated levels is a bad idea. And despite the motives behind it, one thing is certain: it calls for federal minimum wage hike is getting louder and louder, and Hillary's saying, okay, we'll pay workers for a living wage, and I'll put that into an act, and Bernie was going along with it, mandating a $15 minimum wage. Well, guess what? They went ahead and did that in Seattle. And as a result of it, people got working less because their schedules were reduced because the employers couldn't afford to pay them. And then you look at McDonald's, you look at Wendy's. They're going to put in robotic tellers where you just walk up and you stand in front of this electronic screen.
Hi, welcome to Wendy's. What would you like today? Choose from A, B, C, D. Would you like fries with that?
I mean, that's what's going to happen. They're going to eliminate people and automate a few things. You can't automate the area that's making the food. Not yet, maybe eventually. But the people up front that you interact with. You ever go to a grocery store and they have those self-serve tellers, or not tellers, but the payout stations, the cash registers? There's nobody there except somebody walking around with this little electronic box tied to their hip.
Yep.
And they don't answer any questions. They just walk around or stand in the corner, picking their ear or whatever, checking their navel for belly button lint, whatever. And you find that. And they automate. I like to interact with people. I like to talk to the cashier. I mean, that's the big thing, is talking to the cashiers. It's more personable. Okay. So you get into this automated stuff, and man, I'll tell you what, it's not good. It's not good. I mean, minimum wage is made for somebody to have a basic job. Okay. A beginning job. It's not an end all job. And then they go from there. With the way the economy is, a lot of people are stuck in a dead end $10 an hour job or $7 an hour job. And when they boost that, what also happens? Taxes. More money's taken out in taxes.
Yeah, I mean, you could boost it, but it's going to equal out to be the same in the end either way.
Yeah, and you're going to get it in the end either way.
You got it.
So, leave that to your imagination. Be kind of painful.
Don't imagine yet. The show's not over, folks.
Oh, okay. That's true. We just have a little bit to go. Well, I gotta break the news to everybody. The biggest American corporate layoff queens in 2016 so far, here they are. Macy's, they're cutting 4,350 jobs plus. Hancock Fabrics, 4,500 jobs. Microsoft is cutting 4,700 jobs. Cisco is cutting 5,500 jobs. National Oil Well Varco, I've never heard of them, but they're cutting 6,000 jobs. DuPont Pioneer is cutting 6,000 jobs. Weatherford International is cutting 8,000 jobs. Bank of America is cutting 8,000 jobs. Seagate Technology is cutting 8,100 jobs. Schlumberger, which is Slumberger, as people in Houston might call it, they're cutting 10,000 jobs, and it's an oil field services company, and it's a big one. Intel, they're dropping 12,000 people. Halliburton, 15,200 job cuts. And that's in the oil and gas services company. Oil and gas services, just like Schlumberger. But the winner, guess who's cutting the most so far? Walmart. Hi, neighbor. Welcome to Walmart. 17,500 job cuts. Well,
I wonder
given
how
it's
many
2
of those are getting replaced with those little automatic tellers.
I don't know. I don't think that they would have anybody that would stand there and wave their arm going, "Hi, neighbor." Well, they could. They could probably get a Japanese robot to do that.
The little robot. Yeah. Hi, neighbor.
Yeah,
Welcome
well,
to
hey,
Walmart.
have you ever heard of just-in-time deliveries?
I have.
Well, J. Edwards Deming thought of that back when Japan was coming out of World War II. And he went over there to show them how to do things better, quicker, and so forth. And he developed the just-in-time thing, which means you don't have a big warehouse full of stuff all the time. You manufacture it and you deliver it where it needs to go just in time for the next step of production. And you take a look at Walmart. How many deliveries a day does an average Walmart get? Probably 3, 4,
Yeah, 3 or
5.
4 right around in there.
Yeah. And the trucks are always going in and out. Well, it's kind of like just in time, especially for meat and produce. But then you take a look at manufacturing for car manufacturing and so forth. They don't have big warehouses full of things. Things are delivered as they need them. That way you don't have all this money built up in inventory. Now,
Right. It's much more profitable for the company.
Yeah. And think of this. And this came from Adam Taggart at Peak Prosperity. Think about when the trucks stop running. Within a week, grocery stores would be out of dairy and other items delivered many times a day. And by the week, the shelves would be empty.
Well, the trucking industry themselves has done some studies over the years regarding this topic. One of the things that they found is that if the trucking industry, for one reason or another, shut down for about 24 hours, so, some kind of disaster happens, the power grid goes down, whatever the case may be, if the trucking industry was shut down for about 24 hours, it would take them 3 months worth of time to get everything back to normal. So just a 24-hour period of being out would take 3 months of recovery to get back to normal. That's crazy.
Well, yeah. And, you take a look at hospitals and pharmacies, and how about banks?
Yeah.
Getting money. ATMs would be out of money. People couldn't get things. Trash wouldn't get picked up. And, that's about 685,000 tons a day of trash in some cities.
Oh, yeah.
When those trucks stop running, you got a problem.
And people complain about the big trucks, and they say, oh, they're polluting and all this kind of stuff. And I'm just sitting there thinking, okay, do you really have an understanding of how the trucking industry actually works and how much we rely upon that as being the backbone of everything that's done in this country? You're not going to stick a few pallets of water on your Prius to try to get it to, from the train to the Walmart or whatever the case may be. It's just not going to happen,
Well, and I'll tell you what, a long time ago, trains were the mainstay, and we've let the railroads basically go to pot.
Yep.
The railroads in Europe are very good. You have some high-speed lanes. You take a look over at China, they have high speed. Japan.
Yeah, here in America, we're probably a good 40 to 50 years behind when it comes to the railway system.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
There really hasn't been any new developments over time, to improve things, really. It's just been left.
Well, they say, oh, we can deliver, what was it, 400 railroad cars on 1 gallon of diesel. And I'm trying to think now, wait a minute here. It probably takes more than 1 gallon of diesel just to start one of those trains.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when they're doing, about 3,500 horsepower for one diesel locomotive. And that locomotive diesel runs a generator, and the generator supplies electricity to the motors underneath. It's not a direct drive situation. Well, here's something to think about. Which states have the most millennials living with mom? Got a guess? Well, the states with the highest percentage of millennials living at home were New Jersey, which is 43.9%, Connecticut, 38.8%, New York, 37.4%, Florida with 37.2%, and California with 36.7%.
Now, that doesn't surprise me because those are also the most expensive places to live.
And many of them are Democratic states.
Any correlation between the two? Maybe.
Maybe. Just could be. But that also tells you our economy is not the way that they're saying it is.
Yeah, I mean, people, the younger generation, a lot of them are still living with their parents because it's simply unaffordable for them to try to live anywhere else.
Especially with all those student loans.
Yes, exactly.
Well, just before we bail out of here for this week, I got to remind people, please go to the moneyandchange.weebly.com website to the Be Prepared videos and take a look at the top 3 videos, please. And underneath them, you'll see a new word that has been invented. And once you say that a few times, you'll understand why it's there. Be prepared, people. It's time. Don't mess around. Get your long-term food and everything. Well, a little deadpan humor here. At Wrinkle City, we have the Am I Gone funeral home. And Emerson Balmer is the funeral director there. It's right next to Bubba's Big Barbecue. Well, Emerson was telling something. He said a funeral procession pulled into a cemetery and several carloads of family members, followed by a black truck towing a coffin inside of a boat. And a passerby remarked, that guy must have been a very avid fisherman. And the other guy says, oh, he still is, said one of the mourners. As a matter of fact, he's headed off to the lake as soon as we bury his wife. And with that, that's all I have for the show this week. And we'll have more information next week for everybody. Please go to moneyandchange.weebly.com. Check out the website. And please check out the section on the preparedness videos. It'll be probably one of the most important things you do this week, other than kiss your wife and hug the kids. And with that, that's all I've got this week, Ira. So, God willing, we'll be back next week if the world don't blow up.
Absolutely. Thank you, Stu, for all that you do. It's much appreciated. Everybody out there, have a great week, and we'll talk to you again soon.